A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house. I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Ooh, pretty flowers. So, for people that haven't played this game, I think everybody's probably familiar with the house if they've heard anything about this game just because it looks so bizarre.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
And lots of newspapers.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
There's an option here to go left or right. I'm going to go right, but there's actually a trophy for going both ways.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints. The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
There's just something so beautiful about that house.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
There's actually a trophy for this too, looking through all the peepholes.
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
I don't know if I'm going to remember where they all are, but I want to check out the slide. 'Cause this gets commented on.
I asked Edie once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband. I was 6. It seemed like an odd joke to me, even then.
If this family's one thing, it's sure odd. And the house has been pretty much taken, well, started to be taken back by the wildlife. A ramp for a wheelchair, it looks like. Or I guess for a walker that could be used for. And she just starts moving for it.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11. The power had been turned off the night we left.
Music is already giving me all the feels here. I say the house is beautiful, but the game itself is too. Such a unique experience.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one. Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly. Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house. So we had Chinese a lot.
So at the beginning, we were on a ferry. So the house is on an island, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And Lewis is her brother, for some context there. Was her brother. This game focuses mostly around death, so...
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it. Like a smile with too many teeth.
Yeah, that's about how you describe it, right? There's just a little too much of everything.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
So Lewis is one brother, Milton is the other. And here's the first people in the house. I think. Yes.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
I would love to have a library like this. It doesn't seem like they're using it, right? They just have that many books.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Give you a key to the house, but it doesn't unlock the front door. A bit odd.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Yes, you heard that correctly. The house sank. That comment really caught me off guard the first time I played this
The
or
table
saw
was still a
this.
wreck from the night we left. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
That is a really good description of this. So context, we are playing as Edith Finch, and our great-grandma is Edie. Or I assume Edith Sr., but she goes by Edie. I do believe that's it for this floor for now.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
So if you notice the foam around the doors, that's what she means by sealed. And then the peepholes from there. That's why there's peepholes on all the doors.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
So 1937 to 1947. So she died at the age of 10. We'll go in this one last. That's actually the one we have to go in mainly.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
So child star.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
I like that wine rack. That's really cool. And that's Barbara's room. So she was
Barbara
16?
was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
So, yeah, 16. That's Odin, I believe.
Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
So, Edith, if Edie's our great-grandma, that would be our great-great-grandfather. We actually have a family tree in our journal. It's just not filled out right now. So I'll pull that up at some point. Sven and Edie. So that's Edie who owned the house. So Edie was pretty old, actually. So that's what, 93? And Sven, so that'd be our great-grandfather. That's not quite old, but that's better than some of them have fared so far.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
This one is not marked. That's the bathroom, isn't it? Yeah, okay, that's the bathroom. Gregory, 1976 to 1977. 1 year old. And it's a bathroom.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Dear Lord, the carpeting. So you can probably see how some of these stories get dark. Two-sided door, Calvin and Sam. Sam, I believe, is our grandfather. So our mom's one who sealed up all the rooms. That would be her father. And Calvin would be his brother, and it's a double-sided door, so they shared the room. And Calvin died at 11.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
I think that's all the peoples. I love the artwork in this room.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Interesting that you wouldn't seal up one room. I do love the motif, though. I like, as much as it gives, as like nightmare fuel for me, because I have a lot of fears relating to water. Well, hey, look, it's a house at the bottom of the water. Here we go. So that's a train. Well, that's dark.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Something about that line made me think of Coraline. Oh, Coraline the movie? I love that movie. Okay, how do I do this?
My mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Yeah, clearly.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
Coraline is such a cool movie. Let me see, I got a message here. Okay. Make sure it's nothing important. So, secret passageways. This is cool. I think this is really cool. I love the idea of secret passageways.
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
So brother is an artist of sorts. Cinema therapy.
Maybe it sounds like I had a plan.
Dare I ask?
But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Alright, so we're in the first room.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
Can we reverse look? No. This is really cool right here. They analyze movies from a therapist's perspective. Oh, that's cool. Was that like a class you took or something? For anybody that keeps rodents, this is really cool.
Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
I like how it's a replica of the room, essentially, in the house, or part of the house. Oh, look, we're wearing a ring. I forgot about that.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Oh, YouTube channel. Gotcha. I have taught classes on YouTube, sort of. Parts of classes. I don't think we can go through here. We do in this story. Oh, Ant Farm. She must have really liked animals. That explains so much now that I think about it. Orca's Island Cows. Oh, thank you, Firebird. I need to watch that movie again. Coraline was such a cool movie. It doesn't get talked about nearly enough. Alright, so this is kind of how the game goes. As we explore the house, we get to see the rooms that are sealed. We work our way up, essentially. We'll work our way down a little bit, but we work our way up to the top of the house, which is, as we go through the house, more and more rooms got added on for people. So if you look at the very top of the house, that's like where we would have lived when we were still here. So we're going back a little bit. Let me see. So this is the Finch family tree. This is in our diary, the one that was being that we were looking at before we started the game. And just to kind of give a little bit of context of what this is showing, at the very bottom, Odin was the original Finch that came overseas. I don't know which side of the continent we're on. I'm going to guess that this originally started on the east side based on the accents of the older characters and their names. But so Odin is the original Finch in this family that we are aware of on this tree. And Ingeborg was his wife. Edie was, I think, his only daughter. Sven was her husband, so Edie's our great-grandmother. And then all the branches above Edie are her children, so she had 5 children. And then Sam was our grandpa. Kay was his wife. 3 kids, including our mother, Dawn. And then she had 3 kids with Sanjay, which brings us into the picture, me. And so we have a timeline for when they died. And so she's gonna fill this out as we go through the stories. And we'll start with Molly. So 1937 to 1947. So again, she died at a pretty young age. Oh, I like the feather.
1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Very subtly pointing us towards the gerbil cage. Don't do this in real life. There's clearly gerbil
food
poop.
was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Not saying that you're gonna get sick, but...
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
So that would be Edie. So notice this subtle accent there, at least. So, because I think she was from across the continent when she was younger.
My Halloween candy was all gone.
Anybody remember being sent to bed without food? Do they still do that?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
Poor Christopher. Let's not eat Christopher. So the stories, if you can't tell, are told from the perspective of the people who died. They're all told in very different ways, though.
I kept eating and eating.
Yeah. Maybe some good toothpaste.
I ate a lot of things that night.
So this makes me wonder if she was actually hungry or if she just had pica.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
I like how Mom and Dad are wooden figures, or appear to be wooden figures. Go, kitty, go. Where's the birdie? There you are.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Let's get up this way. Nope, oh, that's not working. There we go. Wait. Where'd the bird go? Nope, that way. Can I jump that far? No. Nope, not that way. Nope, not that way either. Oh, bird's down there.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore.
Let's go this way.
All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
There's actually a trophy for catching rabbits here. See if I can find any. You have to get 2 of them in a row without missing.
Rabbits.
There we go.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
A bigger rabbit?
A mama rabbit.
I hear scritching. I hear scritch. Nope.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Okay. Hop. Hop, shark, hop. Uh-oh. There we go. It's completely normal, right?
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
Hey there, Saker. You mean you've never turned into a shark before?
I wanted fat, juicy seals.
I know what you did.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Blood trail. Oh, did I miss her? I think I did. No. There you are.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
All right.
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
It's good to see you here, Sacred. You sure walked in at the right part.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Jenna! There are indeed worse streams. Alright. As much as I like that song.
still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Gee, I wonder what this is.
I got closer and closer.
Molly's bed.
All of my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be, and we both know I will be delicious.
Delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Alright, so they leave some of these a little bit up to interpretation and some of them not. I don't know if that was meant to be up to interpretation, but my take on this was that she had pica, she ate something that she shouldn't have, and it killed her. Those berries, for instance, I have a feeling those were toxic. I don't think you're supposed to eat those. And I think she's 10 years old. She probably has a pretty active imagination. And so I assume most of the story was just her, or maybe she was having an experience because of them. I don't know. That was always my kind of take on Molly's story.
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
That's too young.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Remember, she commented on the cat named Molly at the beginning, and so I assume that's why the mother named it Molly. Notice, too, it's getting darker out, so we got here at a pretty late time.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
They all have names. I love that. And, like, little memorials. She clearly likes her birds and a couple of reptiles. I think I saw a lizard over here. Yeah. And a snake. Maybe she was into raves and named the cat after her favorite recreational activity. Oh, that's sacred, no.
We got along, and it was a good place to hide from my mom.
So Edith and Edie apparently had a pretty good relationship.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
I like that they have the photo there. So we have Dawn, our mother, on the left, Edie in the middle, and then Edith, herself, on the right.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed.
That's why.
But she didn't.
That's why I made a point of going to look at the dragon slide, because you can completely bypass that.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, She was a celebrity.
Edie won't go.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
This one's important too.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
I like how it's got the star-nosed mole on the nose. The little kind of sensing parts. So which way do we let go? I think that's going to bring us into another room. That's probably the bathroom, actually.
The room was like a museum.
Okay, Odin, 1880 to 1937. So that's her father, our great-great-grandfather.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune.
Okay,
and
Norway.
misfortune.
So we're on the East Coast then. We have to be. So fortune and misfortune. So I said this is really focuses a lot around death. And so now we're going to kind of get an idea of how it started. Okay, how do we do this? This way? Oh, no, there we go. No.
Odin Finch
we
buries
go.
the latest victims of the family curse. His wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
So now hearing that the house sank, when the house sank, makes a little bit more sense, right? You can probably sense where this is going. So the original house was put onto a ship, or boats, or something.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Oh. So I was right, they did go to Washington. I didn't realize that. How'd they get to Washington? Okay, never mind. Let's not question it.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
And so that's where we would be.
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
So when they left Norway, they must have been in the poles.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
I mean, rather than leaving from down south. Okay.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Yeah, so they keep, they're talking about how things going wrong with the family and being afraid of the house, people dying at young ages, just having bad luck as far as we can tell. So I agree with you, Sacred. The Mole Man story reminds me of those types of newspapers too. The National Enquirer. Can we look through this one? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure the peepholes are to look into the rooms, not out. Okay. She made one. She was making one for Lewis. I never caught that. There's so much in this one room. Sven Finch, built in 1937. Dear Lord. The worst bathroom ever. Like, I've never seen carpeting that bad before. Even back in, what would this be?
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Yeah, talk about a trace. Yeah, first of all, no carpeting in a bathroom. Alright? No carpeting in a bathroom. Secondly, no shag carpeting, period. So this is the bathroom where they had Calvin's image. There's a secret in this bathroom by Sven and Edie Finch.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Another passageway. Yeah, how do you clean carpeting like that? You think the vacuum would just suck it up, right?
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Okay, so Sven is a photographer. This is his dark room is in the walls. I kind of love that. That is cool. So this is for the exposure, and then there's three dipping containers, I believe. I don't know much about photography, but Sven, I think, got to a pretty, not an old age, but a more decent age than some of the others. Is that Milton again? Yeah. So Milton has been through all these rooms. So the photography side, that would be Sam, our grandpa, our grandpa. So he was in the military. I don't remember if they comment on it. I wonder if he was a war photographer.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
If I recall, I
He
think
never talked about him.
I think Sam was about my age, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Runs in the family. Calvin.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore he'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't.
You know, some deaths are just staring you right in the
Calvin
face.
Always wanted to fly.
That's Edie.
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible.
We all tried it though, right?
Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up.
He's already hurt too. So I take it he's been
Then
doing
maybe
stuff like
he'd
this
still be here.
a bit.
But I doubt it.
More than once.
I think he'd already made up his mind.
Yeah, that makes me sick. The heights.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
I don't like that. Oh god, stop.
The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Didn't we all? Don't get very far though.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Also remember stories about people putting lines down the center of their room. Okay, we can't use the door, so we'll have to go through
Mom
this
said Grandpa
one.
Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
I was surprised he even stayed in the room after that, to be honest. I love that caterpillar. Nope. Okay. and turns into a butterfly. More signs of Milton, maybe?
The passages were a pretty tight fit.
Oh, look,
They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
That's how we get out of here. Yep, there's Milton's mark. He leaves them everywhere.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
What gave it away?
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Yes, again, she's 16, so... Happy birthday, Barbara. This is a story that'll set off any of the actors out in the world. This is really cool, the way they tell this, though.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
I played that earlier,
20
if you remember.
minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's clutch and imagined the worst.
I love the fact that you can just whack things.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
That's the saw. So where did Rick go? Ah. Back here?
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear! Rick?
That was really satisfying.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
Thank
She
you.
threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
I'm assuming that's her uniform since it's in her bedroom. In modern time.
Walter, are you there?
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
And that's how we get out of here. I do believe. Oh no, actually this is before where we are. Let's see. Here we go.
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned.
Yeah, this is before the room was safe.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
We all know where this is going, right? As soon as we get down there. This is classic.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. she had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Yeah, there's three, I guess. Is it three? Some really cool things about this. First of all, I love that they told that in the comic book. That was amazing. Second, as Sacred said, Tales from the Crypt nod. That was very clearly a Tales from the Crypt reference there. With the Crypt Keeper, essentially. And then third, the play on Halloween I thought was really cool. Using the music from Halloween and the fact that you knock the Hookman off the ledge and he's gone when you get down there. So nod to the original Halloween. So what actually happened? I think they kind of spell it out there a little bit. They do leave that one a little bit more open to interpretation, but I think she was just killed by some fans, I assume. People that, got obsessed with her, is the way they made it seem. That was my thought on it. They don't leave it open to much more possibly happening as far as I'm aware. I know from actor perspectives, from what I've heard from, I think, Strange Rebel Gaming, from Brianna White, she said how actors they don't do stuff like this. They don't want to go home and see this kind of stuff. I thought that was a really cool interpretation on this. And of course, she's a child actress, so, you might be a little bit more obsessed with the idea of it at this point in your life than actually being an actress. I thought that was kind of a cool way to interpret the story. She just recently played that too, so go watch it if you haven't. It's
I guess
really,
now
really
I know
good.
why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Yep, now we know how to get down to the basement. Also, notice how they mentioned Walter, but that's another tale. Comment on Walter. I thought that was really cool. Which I believe that's actually the next one, is Walter. If I'm remembering correctly. I just have to comment, whenever I see these, I think of the Better Call Saul episode where he's waiting for the old woman to get downstairs, and this thing's going at, like, half a mile per hour. Like, it just takes forever to go downstairs. He's just sitting there waiting for her. Probably one of my favorite episodes of Better Call Saul, just because of, like, all the random crap he has to go through in a day just to do his job. It's getting dark out, too. So, before we do this, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll proceed to the basement. I'll be right back. Alright, so when I first came in here, we played with this a little bit just to hear the music box, but of course we didn't know to keep winding it, and I don't think you can keep winding it, like it automatically doesn't let you. But this is what gives us access to the basement. Everybody's favorite place in the house, right? Looks like it's bit unfinished. Not a bad basement, though. Not as nice as mine, of course, but... Sven.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Yeah, maybe not the best place for kids to be. Oh, look, he's making dragons. Kind of like the slide outside. I kind of wonder if he actually constructed the slide from scratch. Also, I like how he's got the plaques here. That's really cool. If you notice, they were using these for the memorials. This is where the accident would have happened. Have they said how Sven died? I wonder if that's what ended up killing him. I'd never thought about that. When did Sven die? Oh, they don't say. Did they ever say how old Sven was? We don't know about Ingeborg either. I don't think they ever specify the ones branched off. Because I don't think we ever do find out about Kay or Sanjay. I kind of wonder if he died at the same time as...
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
I kind of wonder if he died at the same time as Barbara then. Or if it was just an accident and they were all good.
I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
Oh, she was hiding something. This is really cool.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
So, a bunker. Of sorts.
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
So Walter, remember from her story, a couple things. Remember from her story, Barbara's story, sorry, that they said Walter, the whole incident with Barbara really got to him. And so apparently this is where he's been all these years. So 1952 to 2005. So he was down here for a long time. A long time. So let's see, when were we? We were born in 99, so he was living down here for like 6 years before he died. With us in, like, since we were born, so. So is this a shower and a bathroom at the same time? That's also where he did his dishes, apparently. I like the foods. One of those tasty beans. Let's see. Benny something. Benny Baloo's. Hey, Jared. Jiggly Farms. Okay. Concord grape jelly. I always go strawberry. Pea soup. Propane. I'm gonna guess that's probably rice or some kind of grain down there. Can't quite read it. Water. Probably for drinking. Cereal. Interesting things. First aid kits. Shaving cream. Okay, so he had 2 sinks. Oh, so he's just using it as a dish rack. He actually does the dishes here, probably. Microwave built into the wall. So if you remember in his room, there was the water motif, but there was also the train on the wall. That's why earlier I kept me to count that was kind of dark. Apparently he liked trains. And he's got marks off. So yeah, he literally was down here until he died. It's marked off to 2005, which is when he was marked off as being dead. Let's check this out.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
Yeah.
I was expected to be dead tomorrow.
If I ever...
But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
If I ever eat canned fruits, I always wash them first, usually.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly. And then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone.
Getting older.
Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
So I like how when they show him opening the cans, you kind of see him slowly aging. So Walter actually lived for a long time, considering.
I know it's out there, somewhere.
Into his 50s. I also like how he's got an accent like
Whatever
he's from my
killed
hometown.
Barbara. And Molly.
I was right, that was rice. Brown rice, good choice.
And Calvin.
Little trash area.
Maybe this is all a mistake.
So apparently Edie
But I need to stop living the same day.
Encourages us.
Even if it kills me.
I wonder if she tried to get him out of here.
Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it.
So he broke through. So the rumbling at the beginning was the train going by.
I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
I
don't
second
mind
that.
if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
So Edie would have been bringing him packages. Like I said, I kind of wonder if she was encouraging this or if she tried to get him out of here. I mean, that's her son. I kind of wonder what was going on down here in that regard. So he's been living he was living down here for over a little over 50 years on his own. Could you imagine 50, not 50, because he was probably a little bit older than that. So close to 50 years just living down here. And the second he leaves, he gets hit by a train. And the can opener and the peaches. Very morbid,
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
morbid sense of, you know, memorializing somebody.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive.
You can't blame her mom for, being worried about this.
Now that there's only one of us left. Or maybe two. I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
So they finally said a family curse. So there's the memorial for Walter. That's why we didn't find it in the house. There's one in the bunker and one out here. And apparently the trains don't run here anymore.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Yeah, she writes.
But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
So that's the old house. The one that sank.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. When you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Yeah, I feel that. So a lot of these are the birds that were in Edie's room, or that were memorialized in Edie's room.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Molly, Calvin, Sven, Edie, Walter, and Barbara. That's almost all of our kids right there. I think the only one we're missing is Sam.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
So we got Odin, and then we have Edie and Sven in the boat.
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
A heck of a thing, too. Like, the house goes down and he goes down with it. This does count for the trophy for looking through peepholes.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night. Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
It's kind of a double-edged thing when you think about it.
Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
So there's the rest of the family, Sam. But Dawn is our mother, the one she's just been referring to. Gregory and Gus were her brothers.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
Again, Lewis and Milton were our brothers. Sanjay was our father. So Sanjay had a pretty long life, too. Oh, you know what? I do remember what happened to Sanjay. That does come up later.
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
I've heard that there's actually another game based on Milton. I don't remember what it was called. I never got to play it. I never saw anybody play it.
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
She did leave you the key. She resisted this for so long, and then, assumably after she dies, she leaves her the key. Another thing I've always been fascinated with are complicated tree forts. Maybe this one's not quite complicated, but looks more like a balcony.
But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
Yeah, she finally drops that bit of information. So she's writing this for her unborn child. And that's why her belly kind of sticks out. And she's made a couple of kind of offhanded comments relating to that without directly saying it.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
I think Sam's story is probably one of my favorites.
They were both pretty intense.
They do seem really similar to each other.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Ironic. Just want to check the rim up before we go to the story. Okay, I think that's what goes on to the next location.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Can I look that up? Maybe not. That must be for the other side. Yeah, I suppose that's the hallway that leads into the house, I bet. Or the door to the attic, or sorry, the third floor, was sealed. But this story I thought was really cool. We hear so much about Dawn and all this, and this is our first time really getting insight into her and her dad, our grandpa. Again, another really unique way of telling a story.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
Oh crap, I should have done that so quick. They're on a hunting trip.
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are. Hey!
That's a keeper.
Yeah, that's something I would totally do.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Because I love having them characterized, because we don't know much about Dawn other than what we hear.
Last time I was with my brother. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Probably, but you were saying?
Grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire.
Your wildlife.
We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of it.
Where are we looking? Out here? Oh. Okay.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target.
I understand people not wanting to hunt, but don't have any illusions about where your meat comes from. It's not a bad skill to have.
I'm over here, Dad.
Did I not focus that properly?
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn!
That's a dark one. Okay. I don't remember exactly how to do this one.
I'm proud of you, Dawn.
There we go.
Always remember that, okay?
Old tank controls. Go, 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 go.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
God. Can you imagine having a photo of that and keeping it?
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really important story. I think that's why it hits home for me so much. You get to see Dawn and her father, and you get to see them interacting with each other. And I really love that. And of course, there's a dark, twisted ending to it, like there always is. A more straightforward story. All right.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Yeah. I remember when my grandpa died, on my dad's side, I started spending a lot more time with my grandma. And not that we didn't spend a lot of time together, but I made a point to go and see her more for quite a while. You know, she was always, you know, alone in her house. And I guess there's a part of me that felt bad for her, but there's also a part of me that, you know, you start to realize that, you know, that time you have with people is short. And she was home all the time on her own. She didn't do a whole lot because she mostly took care of my grandpa. And you know, she loves having she loved having company over, at least to an extent, because she liked, you know, she's very much a people pleaser, and she always said she liked when I came by, no matter what time it was. And I don't know how true that was on the time part of it, but she would always welcome me over with open arms. Of course, you know, she's a very typical grandmother in that sense. And so that kind of always makes me think about that, because Edie is, you know, Don's grandmother. So I just think it's kind of a beautiful story. You know, not only the story with Sam and Dawn, but then leading to them having this closer relationship. Like I said, it's not like I ever felt like I didn't have a closer relationship with my grandma, but I then definitely had more one-on-one time with her, and people didn't come up to visit as much. And then when she died, you know, we see people even less now. Of course, I'm not in my hometown anymore, but... So, do we have both stories in here? I think we do. This one might hit hard for any parents out there.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
Another story, you can see the way it's going to end a mile away. I also like the fact that the story was written on a divorce agreement.
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to...
That's Kay. The one who designed the pink bathroom that we're in.
Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw, it sure made him happy.
I want the wider drop. Thank you. Okay.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I can feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night, I wish you could have told us. the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Yeah, I put that one face down too. So, Dawn's stuff is out of the picture.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
And yet she did.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife.
I always forget about this, the fact that Sam remarried. As I assume. I don't really know what became of it.
When
Maybe
the
they
time
didn't.
for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger.
Well, now.
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
Again, we get to see Sam more than once, which I also highly appreciate.
Much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
I like how it has the appearance of a jellyfish. More aquatic themes.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
I don't think we get Dawn's story until the end. She did outlive most of them. Actually, I think she outlived everybody. Can I look through here? No. What about the other door? Maybe that goes through here. No lucky? No lucky? Alright. I do believe Dawn's space is up here. This would be so cool to have in a bedroom.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Granted, I don't know if I'd make it up.
It was as far away as she could get.
At least not right now.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
It's interesting. So she's religious but doesn't talk about it. I get to find out about Sanjay.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Yeah, I like the picture. So fly to India, 1987. Year before I was born. This is the second time that's come up this week now. Last stream I did, I remember. 87 was an important date in that. Okay. I don't know if there's anything else here. Did we go down the pole? We gotta go down the pole, right? I put one up on the side of our two-story building at my mom's place when I was in my late teens, early 20s. Rock climbing wall, sacred. We gotta go down the pole. Okay, now we can go back up. Duties, cool. Greg, be a baby. I guess you can't expect the baby to do work, right? I could see you on a rock climbing wall, sacred. I do believe you talked about doing that kind of stuff before, though.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English.
Oh.
Lewis was born a year later.
So her and Sanjay hit it off pretty quick. Ooh. I have a feeling there's supposed to be rails here, and there's stairs that go down. Yeah. I don't think we can go down there, though.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
So she returned.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
Yeah, I can imagine. It would have been lonely here.
And to see kids in the house again.
Yeah. Not everybody here. So Edith, Milton, and Lewis. So this is where we planted stuff. So apparently Don must have been into gardening. I love the lights. I actually have lights kind of like this outside in my driveway.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
I don't go out there much right now just because my parents aren't here, and I have more of a reason to do that when I have somebody to go outside and chat with. Of course, right now it's snowy and cold, so that's a big no for me.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
I love that they have a classroom set up in here. I think this is really cool. I think I would have been much better off in my life if I had something like this.
But it didn't last.
No, things never do. Unfortunately. Relief efforts end in disaster. I think that's how Sanjay died. Yeah, there's this picture. So even she has a little memorial to Sanjay. Scientific method. Haha, speaking my language. Hypothesis should probably come before the research part. I suppose it depends on how you're doing your research, though. Odin Finch, myth and history. Huh. Honestly, I don't even use hypotheses in most of my work. But yeah, a little bit of tidbit in science. I mean, most of us don't exactly go through a series of steps. We just go, hey, I wonder how this works, and we come up with a way to test it. or to, not even to test it, but to examine it.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday. when Edie gave him a castle.
That is so cool. Look at that. It's like a little observatory. I believe there's stairs going up from here. I noticed when they've talked about Milton, they still, as far as I remember, don't know what happened to him. Or they never knew what happened to him. So no one actually knew if he died or not. He just wasn't here anymore all of a sudden. That, I think, to me, that's almost worse than death. Not knowing. This is cool, I think. Oh, we gotta look through the people, right? All that ear candy. Gives me chills. This is cool too, the elevator setup. So, we'll go through this first and then we'll kind of make some commentary. Yeah, so we have Milton's birthday. We don't have an end date because we don't know what happened to him. This was left, though, apparently.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
I've never made one of these. I don't know if I'd have the patience for it. How do we do this? There we go. I'm too nitpicky with my drawings to do something like this. I love to draw, and I've done some stuff that I look back on and think, wow, that's impressive. But I've kind of lost that touch over the years, and not what I used to be when I was a little kid. That's it. So this story always perplexed me. He draws that, and then just disappears.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
It makes me think that he didn't actually die. There's a game, I don't remember what it's called, I mentioned it earlier. White Swan, something comes to mind, I don't know if that's the right one. But I think that's supposed to tell his story. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's what I've heard.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
So she grew up with Lewis then, basically. I don't remember how old she was when Lewis died, though. We'll have to look at that when we get upstairs. So we got one more story.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Oh, I didn't look through the thing, did I? So if anybody's interested in getting trophies, you have to look through all the peepholes. Easy one to miss because you just walk right around it.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
I don't think I missed any. I think there's some that we can't get to. This doesn't look exactly safety compliant, does it? So cool, though.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Honestly, that sounds kind of like me before graduating. Wait, does this actually go up? Oh, it's broken. That's probably why it's not looking safety compliant. Lewis.
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
I wonder why they told her to stay out of Lewis's room. I can't possibly imagine why they wouldn't want her with Lewis. Can you? Okay, so Lewis was born in 88, same year as me. When was Edith born? 92, something like that. Oh, 92. 99. I knew it was in the 90s, alright? So, 2003. Oh, so, huh. I know, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm looking at Milton. 2010. Okay, that makes much more sense now. So she was pretty young compared to him, but he let her hang around with him. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so 88. We're of the same generation. I think this is a boat. Literally a boat. Alright, how do we get in? There we go.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I have a feeling I know what that smell is. The music changed too. That totally fits the mood, doesn't it? That's hilarious. Gee, what have we got here? Suspicious items. No? Very, very suspicious items. Ooh. What are we looking at? That's kind of looking like a... Actually, I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's got kind of a mix of a lot of different things there, doesn't it?
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
That is surprising, unless he was doing it on purpose. I bet he was doing it on purpose, letting her win. Straight A brother there. I'd be the type of person that'd be like, oh yeah, the controller's definitely plugged in and you're playing. when it's just sitting on the floor and not doing anything. Ooh, nice double monitor. Look how... Dang, those looking new. Oh, he did die in what, 2010? So, that would make sense. Keep forgetting, we're getting closer and closer to modern day here. This kind of surprises me.
As Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Okay, how do we do this? There we go. This is kind of a cool story.
He kept working at the cannery.
Also kind of a challenging one.
But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
Go.
His mind began to wander.
So you have to do
I asked him to describe it.
You have to do... Okay, so you have to do the fish with your right joystick, and you have to do the walking with the left. Okay, I'm getting behind. This is really discombobulating.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
This is so... Okay. What am I doing? I'm doing fine.
And things that
I'm
had
doing
not
completely
names.
fine. I got this.
He knew it was all in his head.
Oh, I love the effects between the two. No, stop. No.
I had hoped he'd find
No.
himself.
Okay. This is perfectly normal. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Okay, I got this. I got this, alright?
But he found something more.
Oh, look, it went from old school to like three-dimensional.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming.
Which is still old school, but... Okay, let's see. I'm going. Wait, where am I going? Oh my god, where am I going? Oh, there. Okay, I got it.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee.
Don't laugh at me, Firebird.
Methodical, tireless, focused.
Yeah,
like
you
a
should
whole
probably
new
laugh at me.
Lewis.
So this is the
let
way
him
I
go
used to be when I was younger. Very active imagination. I still do it sometimes, not the way I used to though.
I even encouraged him.
I don't know if anybody else does that.
It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Oh, puppy.
On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick.
I love the little dancing people.
Then he made musicians.
They make me laugh.
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something.
I have a feeling we know what that hum was.
Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery.
He no longer spoke at the
but
cannery.
His chopping was as reliable as ever.
So he's starting to dissociate.
And one day
like.
It struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination.
You're not laughing at me, you feel that?
So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Of course he did.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering.
This makes me think of the Republic of Dave from
a game for him.
From Fallout 3. Oh, no. Okay, it's starting to consume the screen now. Like a little too much.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
Oh my god, this is getting challenging. Yes, he's dissociating.
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
This is sort of like the pat your head, rub your stomach.
Even as his mother pleaded with him. Part of Louis kept saying.
I don't think I've ever done that, but I know what you're talking about. Oh, look. Oh, no, back to it. So that's Dawn. They're standing in front of us. You got... No, she's the one who got him this job, too.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
handsome queen. I wonder if it changes the ending.
Handsome queen.
Oh, rainbows. Or just some really bizarrely colored algae.
The queen was on her own quest for...
Oh, rainbows. Rainbows! We want rainbows! Okay.
Radiant rainbows.
Actually, I like serpents, but... Gotta go the difficult route. Ah, don't hit the rainbow. Oh my god, don't hit the rainbow! This is really intense. Okay. Electric sitar.
Electric sitar.
Okay, I missed it out.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Oh. No worries, favorite. Oh god, the whole screen is just gone. Ah,
this is was all in his imagination.
Oh my god, so many fish. Dude, what are you doing? Come back to reality. Oh my god, this is really discombobulating.
But he was so proud of having created it.
Okay, okay, no, stop. I want to get the fish out of the way. There we go, okay. I love the way the fish block the route.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
I wonder if that's really what his hair looked like.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming.
Oh, fishy. Fishy.
And then it struck him.
More fishy.
That the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Oh, wait, what happened to my hand? Oh, okay. Let's see. I think we can find his locker. I think. Oh, there it is. What gave it away, right? What possibly gave that away? I like they even have like the Chinese food thing there.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Not a fan of fish. The taste usually really gets to me, along with the texture. So it's really hard for me to eat most.
Despise the man with a royal contempt.
It's really hard for me to put down seafood in general. I've gotten better at it, and I found stuff I like, but Finch, number 9. I wonder what he played. Finch, number 9. Can't see. He's not even grabbing anything.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
The Calico's name Molly, by chance? It is. The cat.
His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
That went to, like, bizarre to dark to suddenly very disturbing.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Yeah, I think Lewis is an interesting character. It's not, I don't know exactly what was going on with him, but he's definitely dissociating from reality there. I'm not I got out of my psychology background years ago. I switched majors within my first year. Stuck his head in the chopper thing. Yes, I believe that's what they imply, at least. I think most of the stories in this are pretty straightforward. There's very few of them that, like, you can leave open to interpretation. So psychotic break due to sobriety, perhaps. Yeah, that could be it. I was also thinking the monotony of the job he was doing. How people go through life like that. I give so much credit to, like, my parents and my family members that work jobs like that, because I've worked jobs like that too, but never more than like a short period of time. And the monotony of that stuff really gets to me. So I could see that driving me to do things that I wouldn't otherwise have done. But yeah, sobriety could also drive that. I don't know if it didn't seem like he was necessarily sober, though. But who knows what other kinds of drugs he may have been doing.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
That's what set this all into motion, them leaving.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
I feel like that's really cruel, a cruel thing to do. I know why she waited, but
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
I think she's trying to avoid the conflict. Notice the packing downstairs is the same pink packing peanuts.
I wish we'd stayed.
Yep. Are they popping? Oh, they are. Oh, that's cool. So this would be,
But I understand why we left.
That's cool. I like this upstairs area. I think this is really cool. So I'm wondering if they both stayed here. Her and her mother. Because her mother's bed was dismantled, which could have been just because she moved to the loft, and maybe she was still sleeping there.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Oh, there we go. This is her mom's area. Yeah, that's right. I think there's another bed upstairs. That's Sanjay, it looks like. Oh yeah, he's got his jacket there. His let's see, evac specialist. Huh. There we go.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe you should have come sooner.
And this is our room. I love the little Finch figurines.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now was to tell you about that last night.
Are we crawling? I almost felt like we're crawling there. That's a pretty low ceiling. The figurines, they look like the ones from Lewis's imagination. Some of these do, at least. Looks like a type of paper mache or paper folding. Maybe the Finch figurines are origami. I think there's a book in here somewhere on what that is. I don't know if it's all origami, but on the house. The house with addition, I think. Looks like. That looks a little bit bigger. More of the figures. Okay. And I'm guessing this is where she wrote everything. She has the pen there. So she wrote this for her son, unborn son. I'm guessing this is where she writes the whole story.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
That escalated quickly. Grandma's speaking my language back there, though.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
She's younger here a little bit. It's just the different hand warmers. I don't know what you call those. Are they just called hand warmers? I don't know.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
So, that's the end of the story. I really have to hand it to her. Every time she does that ending, it brings me to tears every time. Something about the way she words things and the way she expresses them always really strikes at me. So, we've got everybody's stories that we've kind of gone through throughout this. I said the ones that always were really core to me, the ones that always set out, are the ones that are, of course, most close to Edith herself. You know, her brothers, her mom, her grandpa, and Edie. I got to point out, I love the way they did the credits, how they rolled from the characters at the top of the house all the way to the bottom, essentially, and kind of incorporate them all into the credits, and then how they showed all the developers, like old photos of the developers. I absolutely love that. And I think overall this game is just beautiful in so many ways, and it's beautifully told. Beautifully, like the artistry in it is beautiful. The way they told the stories was really unique. I think every story, like, it just hits hard in different ways, and it hits different people in different ways. And then we kind of get to the end and we find out what happened that last night before she left, and and learn all the history of all these people in this house that lived in this house. Because you first walk in and you see this huge house that's like, wow, what are we looking at? Like, there's a house and there's stuff built onto the house and making it into this ginormous thing. And my first thought was kind of like, what is this and why? Oh, you had a sudden urge to vacuum. I vacuumed earlier today. Mine really needed it too. You missed the ending because of vacuuming. Firebird, what are you doing to me here? Talking about an emotional ending and you were vacuuming. So, I love when. So I think all the stories in their own way are really cool. I love the way they tell them. Some hit closer to home for me than others, and I think it's going to be the same for everybody. We all have those stories that just get to us, some that don't, and some that might fall in between. I think in their own way, they all get to you in some way, almost no matter what. But some are told very quickly, some are told in more elaborate ways, but it's all unique, and that's what I really like about it. And then I especially love, I mentioned how I love the stories between Sam and Dawn, and how we got Sam into different stories, because of course he's going to be a really important character to her, even though Edith didn't get to meet her grandpa. She kind of got to experience a little bit of him through some stuff, and then we got to experience him a little bit more directly. And then we hear about Dawn, of course, throughout this whole story, because she's one of the most important people to Edith, her and Edie, and of course her brothers. And so we got to see a little bit of her, because that's a character we would have been missing out on big time. And you got to look at, if you look at the timeline for her, she's one of those few in the family that lived a more complete life time-wise. Like, I don't think you can really ever. No life is no time is ever enough for a life. But look at Edie. She's been living through this for how many years? She hit her 90th birthday. And she's been dealing with all of this for ages, and she seems to deal with it fairly well, considering. I like the way that she memorializes everybody, and you can see that throughout the house, outside, in the graveyard, and in places where they died, most likely died, I guess, in some regard. And so I like the duality between Edie and Dawn, and I like how Edith comments that she's definitely was really close with Edie, and she would try to get away from her mom by going to Edie. But also that looking back on things now that she's was a bit older, we started to learn that she was starting to see why her mom did some of the stuff she did. So Edie's kind of embracing this so-called curse, or whatever it is, where Dawn's trying to protect her more immediate family from it. And I can understand both sides of the story. I do agree with Edie. I don't think not addressing it's going to do anything. Clearly they ran away and it didn't help for them. Dawn died shortly after, a few years. She got sick and died. Edith gets pregnant, and it sounds from all that she died in childbirth. And if you follow the story through with her, she came here, how many weeks pregnant did she say she was, or month? I can't remember exactly how she said. She was pregnant, very obviously, if you look at her belly. She had a ring. I don't know if there was a significant other. She didn't mention a significant other, so I always kind of assumed there wasn't one, and maybe the significant other died, and that's why she had the ring. Or maybe it was her mom's. I don't know. I guess it would make sense if she kept her mom's ring, possibly. Or it could be her dad's, for all we know. But, she gets pregnant, she goes back to the house because she has that key. I'm assuming a lot of this all happened within a short time. I assume her mom died. She was probably pregnant at the time, I'm guessing, because she made that comment about how she was the last Finch left alive until I found out about you. I don't remember if they said what year it was when she died, but I would assume that was probably 2016 when her mom died, is what I was thinking. I don't know if that was ever really put out there in the story. So she goes to the house, she learns all these stories, she writes them down in this kind of diary, where she's got this family tree drawing here, and she's been writing all these things down for her unborn child. I think that heartbreaking moment at the end where she says, I want to tell you all these stories myself, but if you're reading this, that means I'm gone. That always just tears at me. And so, I think the implication there is that she died in childbirth and didn't even get to meet him. So, I don't know, there's probably not much to... Waves on the Grave, 2017? Oh, thank you, Sacred. Yeah, it would have been on the grave, derp. And of course, she wouldn't have written it in, that's why it's not on the diary. So it was within a short time. I'm guessing, she was probably pregnant at the time that her mother died. That's just my guess. But... So it's not, I don't think there's much more I want to say in the game. I think the stories all kind of speak for themselves, and I kind of talked about how I felt about them along the way. I guess the one thing you might kind of think at the end is, was there a curse or not? But I think that's really up to interpretation. And I think they left it that way on purpose. But again, I agree with Edie. I don't think it's something you can run from. You can look at it as it's just bad luck, or you can look at it as there's tragedy in the family for a reason. Either way, it's still there, and it doesn't matter in the end, because there's just one person left now, again, for a second time. So, I don't know, maybe that's the moral of it. It's just it doesn't matter whether there's a curse or not. It is what it is, and she said we have to, we can be thankful for even being here to begin with, regardless of how bad things got in some of these circumstances. So I think that's where we'll close it off. I don't really have much more to comment on the game itself or the story. Like I said, I have nothing but good things to say about it, and I think it's definitely something everybody should experience if they're like this style of game and they like the story. It's a good one to experience yourself. Process it in your own time. So thank you, Firebird and Sacred, for joining. Jared, I think, popped in a little bit, so thank you, Jared, for joining. We'll close it out here. We'll be picking up with Dishonored on Wednesday, and I will see you all later.